Welcome, family and friends. I'm Conrad Doss. This is my good friend Warren Rumpel, and we just wanted to invite you on the adventure of a lifetime, the Great Race. This is something that I've been planning for the last 35 years. I can remember that when I was in high school, my wife and I had a friend whose dad did this, and it turns out that that same gentleman is actually mentoring us in this great race. And so when I had the opportunity to buy a 1958 Corvette, I could remember back 35 years ago when he did this adventure. And I thought to myself, is it possible that I could do that? And lo and behold, it is. And we're going to take you on an adventure of a lifetime. So many of you have asked us, how do you follow us? How do you track us? And we'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. But what I want to tell you about is that I had the opportunity to ask my good friend Warren Rumpel to join us. And so Warren, when I came to you and asked you to be able to participate in this, what was your initial thought?
My initial thought was absolutely. I would love to do this. I too am a car guy, and I have loved cars my entire life. I've had quite a few classic cars, and I've restored and sold quite a few classic cars. And the opportunity to do something like this with a good friend of mine, Conrad, who I've known for at least 10 or 15 years now, I just thought this would be a fantastic opportunity to just go out and have some fun and do something with my good friend.
Yeah, well, I'm grateful. Well, I knew that I needed a skilled mechanic. And the truth of the matter is that most of y'all know I just don't know anything about autos, but I'm learning. That's the good thing, is that I've learned a ton as we prepare for this. But I knew that I needed a mechanic. And so having you as a skilled mechanic, and then on top of that being just such a great friend, and this has really drawn us together even the last year.
It has.
Mainly because these cars look great. And no doubt that, we'll tell you a little bit here in just a moment, but these cars are money pits.
Yeah.
Is that they do require a lot of work.
Yeah.
63 years old. And so Warren, maybe kind of give them a little update. What have we done so far?
Well, we've actually pretty much gone from the car, from the front to the back. Conrad had the transmission rebuilt. We done a little bit of engine work. We rebuilt the original Carter carburetor. We've put a new distributor in. We've done some work recently in the last week and a half on the generator and the voltage regulator.
That's
we had
a story.
Yeah, that's a story in itself. With a little bit of interior work. We've put some new seats in it, new foam in it. Like Conrad said, there's a little bit of money that's been put into this 58 Corvette.
So you're probably wondering, okay, so it's a 1958 Corvette. Give me the specs on this. And so it's a 280, it's original engine, matching numbers, transmission's original, engine's original. We've had to do some recent updates, but the paint, when I purchased this from a dealer out of Ohio, is that they had repainted it. And so the paint is new. They had reupholstered the carpet on the interior, probably just kind of lipstick on a pig kind of thing. But 283 engine, 230 horsepower. Surprisingly, it's a 2-speed power glide transmission, which I didn't realize until a couple years ago that they're still using those like in drag races.
Mm-hmm, that's correct.
Yeah, they like them just because they're rock solid. I don't know why mine, after 60 years, I had to rebuild it, and I think we need to emphasize, when he says we did all this work, the truth of the matter is we didn't this. It really was you and a group of individuals.
It's been a combination of quite a few people that have been working.
And so we want to give a shout out and a thank you to Steve at Cross Flags Performance. I mean, he's just done amazing work on this, and we'll tell you about some of our recent escapades on that. Bob LaPole over at Bob's Auto Express, and great guy. I mean, you met him at a car show?
Yep. No, actually, I had some work done on my 1965 Barracuda, and he's just an amazing gentleman. He's been doing cars for his whole entire life. Yeah,
great guy. So we had Bob, and then Gordon at Houston Corvette Services, which Gordon's done a lot of work on this car over the years. One of the things we had the challenges was the windows. Mm-hmm. We replaced all the gear work, or we've had to update a lot of the interiors of both doors. Challenges there, challenges on wiring, challenges on he replaced all the wheels. He did the work on a lot of stuff. Yeah. it kind of duplicates after a while. But they've all done a lot of work, but Warren's really done all that. He's been able to really kind of quarterback a lot of this work. And so for that, Warren, kudos to just get us up and running.
Well, thank you. And actually, we actually were planning to do this race last year. Yeah. And because of COVID, we had to cancel doing this race, but it's actually been a good opportunity for us to get some more work done on the Corvette that we didn't plan on doing but needed to be done.
Well, I think it's actually going to work out to our benefit, because last year we didn't really know how many people were going to be attending each of the different legs or at the end. This year, this could be one of the first events, outdoor events, that some of these cities have had. Yeah. And so because of that, we could have, we're from 1,000 to, maybe as much as 10,000 people that are going to attend some of these events. So yeah, it's going to be a car show everywhere we go.
It is going to be. I have to tell you a funny story. When rebuilding the carburetor, when you rebuild a carburetor that's 63 years old, you have to make super sure that every single part comes apart and goes back exactly the way it's supposed to. So I rebuilt the carburetor in our kitchen, and I had parts all over the place, and I was even using some of my wife's pots and pans to soak parts in. She'll be happy to hear that. And I had to take pictures and just make sure everything went back together. But it's kind of funny, you hear about guys rebuilding engines in their house, and I was rebuilding the carburetor to this car in our kitchen.
But did we have any parts left over?
We didn't have any parts left over. Everything went back together exactly the way it was supposed to. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember you sending me the pictures, and I didn't realize the pots and pans. So, so Donna, you'll have to figure out which ones those are. That's good. No, we had a possible scare here recently with the generator.
That's correct. So about a week and a half ago, went to start up the car and just do a little driving and get used to the vehicle, and the car wouldn't start. And right away I realized that typically if a car doesn't start and it's been started in the last week or so, then there might be some type of a charging problem. And we did a couple of tests, and it turns out that the generator was not charging. And again, we're dealing with a 63-year-old generator that has old parts in it, and old windings and old contacts, and it's not something that you can just clean up and make it work. So the generator was only putting out about 10 or 11 volts, and it really needs to put out somewhere between 13 and 16 volts. So we took it in, and luckily your friend Steve did a great job. He started to take it apart, and then we ended up finding a generator online and a regulator online, and it was rebuilt by an expert in Ohio. And we got it all put back together, and now it's charging correctly, and hopefully we'll be able to advance on our excursion more than 50 miles without breaking down.
Well, there was a little nervous anxiousness in there.
It was.
Because we didn't know if we were able to find the generator, and somehow you found it online. We talked to them, we overnighted it, and somehow, some way we got it in. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My understanding is that rookies that start this great race, that there's usually 5 or 6 of them that don't finish the first day. Yeah. Because they're just not prepared, or they just don't realize you don't take your car long distances. So we probably ought to tell you just a little bit about the Great Race. And so Warren, you want to just give them a quick update on what this is?
The Great Race was actually started in 1983, and it was a gentleman by the name of Tom McRae. And in 1982, he was a car guy his whole life, and in 1982, he got with some of his friends, and he decided he wanted to put a race together from LA to Indianapolis. And in 1983, they put that race together, and it was for pre-World War II vehicles only. And the grand prize winner was going to have $150,000. Wow. And that race, now the Great Race, has gone on every year since then. I was actually just reading this earlier, and I thought this was very interesting. Tom McRae is no longer with us, but McRae believed it was extremely important to say a prayer in public in every city to bless the event, as praising the Lord was a staple of his operation and the unique way of spreading the gospel. Although McRae is no longer with us, his vision for the event and his love for old cars still lives on through the continuation of the Great Race. And I know you didn't even know that.
I didn't know that, yeah.
I read that, and I thought, what a great opportunity for friends, for family, for car guys to get together, but also to spread the gospel.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I didn't know that.
I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, yay God for Tom. And so what we're going to be doing, we're leaving San Antonio Saturday the 19th. So we're leaving San Antonio, going to Greenville, South Carolina, 2,300 miles over 9 days. We start in front of the Alamo, and then we'll go on up through Oklahoma, over to Missouri, Kentucky, shoot across over to West Virginia, down Virginia, North Carolina, and finish up in Greenville, South Carolina.
That's correct.
On Sunday the 27th, June 27th. And so, we're grateful that we have the opportunity to be able to just step away. This is the first time, and I think since I've been working for 35 plus years, that I'm going to disconnect. I have an out-of-office message. I've never had an out-of-office message on there. And so it's going to be interesting just to kind of see how I can really, truly disconnect, and I hope you can too.
Well, and it's interesting you say that, because we truly are going to disconnect in this world of technology and cell phones, and you can't get away from work. We're actually required by the race rules to not have our cell phones in the vehicle. We can't be using maps or GPS or anything. So as a result, we're going to have to put our phones in the back. So we are truly going to be able to disconnect from work for a week.
So it's in case you're not familiar with it, it's a timed accuracy rally. And so the idea is that we're given a page of instructions. These instructions could be, drive 30 miles per hour, 5 streets up, turn right. Go to a stop sign, wait for 12 seconds, turn left. You may want to travel between point A and point B for 12 minutes, and they'll give you different intervals along the way. So the goal is to reach what they call perfect time, which I guess is 0.
Correct.
So the idea is you want to get as close to the end of the leg in perfect time by following these instructions to the letter. The challenge, though, is that we're doing this on streets where you have cars that are driving normally during the day. Even though we're on a lot of back roads, we're in very few interstates, but you're still going to be bogged down by someone that's in front of you. So you have to have a stopwatch. We can have an analog stopwatch or an analog watch. We can't have I can't take our iWatch with us. We can have a third-party speedometer because you need the accuracy of a speedometer. Right. And so Curtis, our mentor, was so kind is that we got a third-party speedometer for him called TimeWise. He ran a sensor to this left front wheel, and then we added an external battery that will charge every night. And that way it has its own power source. That way we can have the most accurate speed possible. We'll calibrate it every morning to make absolutely sure that it's going to be accurate. So they'll give you a distance every morning for you to drive. And that way you can calibrate just to make absolutely sure. And then you'll be able to look and see how well we're traveling each and every day.
Right.
And so we can do that. We have to cover our speedometer on our vehicle. We have to cover our tachometer. We can't look at our odometer. We can have a stopwatch, and that's about it.
Yeah. And like Conrad said, we have a start time, we have an end time for lunch, we have a start time after lunch, and then we have an end time when we get to our destination for the evening. And then during the route, there will actually be people on the route that will actually time us at specific points that we are not aware of. Yeah. And they take all those times, all of our minus times and our plus times, and they add them together for total times. And each day, at the end of the day, we'll have a total time, and it doesn't wash out plus or minus. It just adds up.
Right.
Yeah. And then at the end of the week, the person with the lowest time is the winner for the race.
And they win 50 grand.
And they win 50 grand.
We're not going to win 50 grand.
That's right.
Because we're just going to try to survive.
We're in the rookie class, and I don't think we're going to be making 50 grand.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But it's 1974 or older vehicles. I think half of them are pre-World War.
Yep.
Our goal really is to, 1, finish, 2, finish without too many problems or issues, and 3 is we just want to have a great experience.
Exactly. And they're actually, I looked at it this morning, they're the earliest vehicle's a 1916 Hudson Hill Climber.
Really? Okay.
And then there's a couple of 1973 and 1974 Chevy Camaros and AMC, I think, and stuff like that. And I think there's also a 1917 Peerless.
Wow.
So those are the two youngest cars, or oldest cars.
Yeah.
And then the newer cars are 1973 and 1974.
What we didn't mention is that this is starting in June, and really we're going into the hottest part of the summer.
That's right.
And we're doing this in a convertible with no air conditioning.
That's right.
From Texas.
Well, it does have air conditioning. 55 with the windows down. Oh, 55 with the top down.
Yeah, with the top down. That's true. So we're excited that you guys can go along with this with us on this race and this adventure. And lastly, we want to thank our wives. There's no doubt that we wouldn't be able to do this without the support of the ones that are most important to us. And so to Donna Rumpel, to Tangi Doss, we just want to tell you thank you very much for everything that you've done for us, that you've given us the green light to be able to do this. Yeah. No doubt we needed that in order to be able to.
That, yeah.
I think we probably would have done it anyway, though,
You're
right?
Probably right.
Yeah. So to both of you, thank you very much, and to all of our family and friends that are coming along with us on this journey. We just can't imagine being able to do this just by ourselves. And so look for us on our YouTube channel, Classic Open Road. That'll give you some insight into what we're doing every day. And honestly, I think we're going to do probably about 3 days worth of really solid work on this one. And after that, I think we're probably just going to try to stay just a little behind the car in front of us.
Yeah.
And so keep a lookout for us. You just never know. We may come back with a big check. Thanks again for joining us on this great adventure. It really will be a great race.